let's try this again, because yeah, that didn't all go so well. What the hell is down there? There's an actual skeleton down below. Here, show off my skills. Miss, miss, miss. Got him. Jesus. Okay, that was great. Alright, with that fantastic introduction out of the way, my name is Extra Fresh. I am playing along with DireWolf20's Let's Play series. We are in this great little valley that I found. I started building a nice white tower and it's half done because I got distracted, as you do, because, well, Minecraft. So I got distracted by what, you would ask? We're at the back of the tower. There's some nice fields full of canola here. This is the basis for the power system that DireWolf20 is showing off. And what he said was, I'm going to fully automate our production of crystallized and empowered oil. And that's what we watch the show for, is, what's the series for, is automation. So I sit back and I relax and I see him automated and he declares, I am fully automated. At which point he's still running around with some seeds in his hand and placing stuff manually, and I go, you know, I can do better than that. Just that little voice in my head that says, you know, we can automate the rest of that. One word of advice: if you ever hear that voice, put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 really loudly, because that's a rabbit hole. Anyway, I have emerged from the other side and I've actually finished fully automating that entire process. Let's go have a look at what's involved. Okay, real quick, let's jump into a test world and show you the process. 4 steps. First step: grow the plant, harvest the plant. Sweet. Get some canola, we throw it into a canola press and we get canola oil. That oil, we can burn it. Produces 40 RF per tick, but you want to throw it into a fermenting barrel and we get oil from it. Ferments it into normal oil. The oil produces 100 RF per tick. These are the easy steps. This is the low-hanging fruit. You can do this right off the bat in the game. The next ones are a bit more complicated. You need to get your seeds, dump them out in the overworld, hit them with a laser from the atomic reconstructor, klabam, and they get turned into crystallized canola seeds. We then take the oil that we had, place it in the overworld, throw in the crystallized seed, and it turns into this crystallized oil. Now, this crystallized oil produces 200 RF per tick, so that becomes very respectable. We can do that same thing again by producing empowered canola seeds. That works in this empowerer. You need to get these stands and, you know, whole hocus pocus. But bazam, we get these empowered canola seeds. And then again, we need to take the oil, put it in the overworld, put the empowered canola seed in there, flop, and that stuff we can pick up and pipe away. That produces 300 RF per tick. We are trying to automate all that. So all the steps of tearing up the seeds, tearing up the oil, placing it in the overworld, dumping stuff in, piping it back out, all of that needs to be done with error checking, because there's a lot of things that go wrong. And all that needs to be done, you know, without any involvement from the player. So you don't want to see all of this happen without me doing any of it. That's what the goal of this room is. Alright, let's see if it works. Now, let's go have a look upstairs and look at the room. There she is. There's oil, there's more oil, there's more machines, there's some logic on the wall. Yeah. Oh, I haven't shown you downstairs. There we go. So that's quite a bit to take in. Let's break it down. Yeah, break it down. I don't mean break it down, I mean let's break this process down and chop it into little manageable bits and then explain what on earth is happening. So, real quick, let's go through the room. First, you saw the farms outside. We need to produce the canola and the seeds. That is piped in through this laser into that drawer system. That is step 1. Produce canola. Sweet. Step 2. Take canola, press it, ferment it, produce oil. And we've done that. Sweet. That's step 2. Step 3. Produce special seeds. So take the seeds and make them crystallized and empowered. This happens down here. That's step 3. Step 4 is take this oil, take the special seeds, combine them, and make this empowered oil. Also, check. Step 5 is take this empowered oil, throw it in our oil generators, and produce an inordinate amount of power. Check. For step 1, we are outside. Obviously, canola farm, there's 2 more. One is a manual farm for, if things get backed up or I lose everything and I can start over again. Wow, another duel to the death. Yeah, he's afraid of me. Get wrecked, bud. Wow. Okay. So, manual farm, and one of the other 2, automated farms. So, down there, very simple. The farmer does his thing, it collects everything. The existing stuff donator puts it into an editing interface and it layers it out into that drawer stack there. Not really a whole lot to see here, except maybe the 4 solar panels that power it. 4 solar panels is overkill, but at some point I want to upgrade these farms with some of that really expensive glass that you can put on top, what's called the greenhouse glass. Step 2. We are going to use this stack here. So there's a nice drawer stack here with a drawer controller at the bottom. You might notice that there's no conduits running anywhere. Well, they are, but yeah, I've used a lot of facades. A lot of facades. This is not the half of it. So this controller is being drawn out from all sides. Let me just check which one was the one for the... No, that's the other one. So the canola seeds are drawn out from the back. It's only done on a signal, and then they are piped into here. So that happens, if everything is correct, that happens on canola feed. This signal right here should put in canola seeds into these things. So you'll see it being piped out of the drawer stack and into here. Sweet. Let's turn that off again. And yeah, it stops entering it. This is set to round robin, so it fills it up equally among the 4, which is nice, instead of just starting with 1 and then dumping it out on all the others. So that's a nice little system to start it off. Just with a lever, you can basically cut off the supply at the start with the lever there. Then it's fermented. It is using some pressurized fluid conduits on the back there to put it into this tank, and then it's further taken out with ender fluid conduits, because these have to handle 2 different types of oil, one putting in and one turning out, and all at the same connection. So I have to use ender fluid. What's it called? Ender fluid conduits, which was quite expensive, I'll tell you that, but you get what you pay for. So these are now fermenting the oil and then piping it out through this side all the way along the bottom there, and you see it running right here, and it connects it to right to this smeltery drain block, and pipes it into this oil tank. There's 180 buckets worth of this stuff that fits in here. Fantastic. So that is phase 2. Step 3. This is where it gets really interesting. We are now going to take these normal basic seeds and we're going to tier them up first into crystallized seeds and then into the empowered canola seeds. And these are the more complicated operations. So bear with me as I go through all this. This is where I go and get into these logic bits that I have set up here with Super Circuit Maker. Very nice mod, by the way. Very impressed with that. There's some little inventory checkers here. It all ties together, this entire room, and then it all happens down there. So this is where it gets really complicated. First of all, we've got 4 types of inputs here, 4 types of resources, and they're all checked by these inventory checkers from RFTools. For this, I want 2 stacks of it. For this, I only need about 1 stack of it, and for this, I can do with half a stack. So what it does is they output a signal into here for each of these 4 inputs, and you can see I gave them all a different color. So these seeds, these signals are then fed. First of all, they're fed into here. Just a little indicator where you can see, okay, we've got enough of these or not. So let's say I take out all these empowered canola seeds. By the way, these drawers are locked, so even if I take all of it out, you see there's 0 in there. I still locked to that. The light goes out because I have less than half a stack there. I put them back in, light goes back on, and same goes here. Take it all out, put it back in. Sweet. So that's just a little bit of a checker to see if all the resources are still filled up enough. Now here is the logic board for starting up my empower. Forgive me for starting with this one first because it's a little clearer. The laser out there is basically doing the same thing. It's a little more complicated, so we'll start with more complicated of an operation. So we'll start with this. What the empowerer needs is 1 crystallized seed and 4 of the normal seeds around. And the empowerer also needs power for those 4 things. So there's just conduits running and item conduits running to it. Now those item conduits are all done up with filters so that they only in and output the right items. So this can input crystallized and output empowered seeds, and then they put them all back in the right channel. So they just put it right back in here. So they don't go to their goals or anything, they just go straight back here. So why is it not firing now? Well, I have this little logic board here set up to determine when it should fire up. When should this thing be firing? Well, first of all, there's 3 things that I want to check for. First of all, when it should fire is if we have enough of these red seeds, of these crystallized seeds, because we're going to use them up, so we need a bunch of them. We're going to make sure we have enough of it. If we don't have enough of it, the other machine fires up later, but if there's not enough, this thing needs to stop running. So yeah, these little lights that I built up here are the error lights. So when the light is burning, that is a reason for the machine not to run. So this light is on because it's also checking, do we even need more of these empowered seeds? And no, we don't. We have enough. So yeah, we're fine. This machine does not need to run. The other reason it's not running is that there's a lever that controls all these machines, which is keeping this one lever for all 3 machines together. I would have made a different lever for each of the 3 machines, except I ran out of channels on the Ender IO circuit. Could you believe it? Yeah, kind of terrible there. That really sucked. When I realized, dude, I don't have enough channels to make all of this work, so I had to make some choices. So all 3 of those machines are all toggled under the same lever right there. Now I have built a little debug lever that overrides all of that right here, and I can toggle that to fire the machine. So just to demonstrate, seeds are placed in there, boom, and another one, boom. It goes fairly quickly, and it just keeps going like that. So turn that off, and it stops firing. Sweet. you'll notice we now have 37 instead of the 32 that we had earlier, and this it went down by a few. Alright, so once all these lights have turned off, you'll notice once I take these out below 32, this will say, hey, you don't have enough, meaning this light comes off and the machine needs to run. Turn those back in, the light turns off. So this is a really nice way, and also designed the board visually so you can see really what's happening on it. I guess I could have made this into a smaller space on the circuit boards, but you can combine them and just use a nice open space. Also, by making them big like this, I can use multiple in and outputs and still hide them all. I could have read from this side or from the top, but there's no block there to facade. So I was limited to using in and outputs where there was already a structural block, so I could build a facade on top of it. All of these are conduit facades. None of this is structural in any way at all. So I guess these are the thing that it's built on. Yeah, but yeah, there's to show you how much I ran out of channels. The firing for this machine, when this machine fires on, it fires on this little channel here. And this is, I isolated this channel on the redstone conduits just to save a channel. I had to jump through hoops like this. So you can see down there, that's where the main trunk line of the redstone conduit goes down and around, and it just circumvents this little block here, so it just doesn't follow the line. It was expensive, but it just saved me that one channel, so I could do that. There's another place where I isolated this one, so it doesn't use the channel on the main trunk line, and there's one other space, there's one other channel over there that I also isolated, I think. Just had to do it to get to get it all into it. So the main trunk line was overloaded with data, even on 16 channels. So yeah, this logic board will fire up once all the conditions are met. It will fire up the empower and produce a nice steady feed of empowered canola seeds for us. The same goes for the crystallized canola seeds. The logic board for that is down there. So there's one extra condition for it. There's three conditions again, and there's the extra board here, which just does the actual firing of the machine, because the machines need a bit more elaborate firing. Also, I saved the channel by just outputting it directly into the machine instead of having the logic board up here and then put the fire and then channeling it out down there. So saved another channel this way. I had to jump through a lot of hoops. The other output channel goes out the back. So what this does, it checks for do we have a need for crystallized seeds? No, we don't. We have plenty. So boom. Let's take this bunch out. I didn't take enough out. There. Let's take it all out. Now this turns off again. I put it back in, and it turns on. So there's no need for the machine to fire. It stops it from firing. This is, do we have enough of these little seeds? Sure we do. And this one is the lever. Again, the main lever to turn it off. So once all these three conditions are met, the machine is allowed to fire. And it fires. Here's a little intricate bit of circuitry. Well, intricate, but there's a pulsar here and a delay. This pulsar pulses the laser. This other line that goes out and into the wall, that fires up a feeder that feeds seeds into this item dropper down there. Once that line is fired up, this thing starts pulsing, and so after a little while, it gives out its first pulse. It dumps a bunch of seeds in there, and then it has enough seeds and it stops. The thing is though, this has been loading seeds into this item dropper for a bit, and all these seeds are being dumped out continuously. I don't want any seeds to linger in there, so they're all being dumped out. So it takes a while for all of those seeds to come out. So this delay makes sure that there is one last fire about 15 seconds after this thing is done. meaning all these dropped seeds actually get lasered up. There is a vacuum hopper that is set to only react and only ever react to crystallized seeds. So once these seeds are chilling there, they're dumped out, if chilling, no problem. As soon as they get hit with a laser, they turn into crystallized seeds and they get vacuumed in. Sweet. So yeah, that's that whole machine. Cool. Alright, so now we get to our favorite, or at least my favorite machine. This is the Empower, the machine that takes the normal oil and turns it into empowered oil. Now, this is a really complicated operation, not because the operation itself, I guess. You just, have a fluid placer, you have a fluid collector. So you have a fluid placer, you fire the two droppers, the dropper with the crystallized seed and the dropper with the empowered seed, and they dump the two seeds in, and the oil changes, and you pipe it out with a fluid collector. Seems fairly straightforward. The thing is, though, you need to do a lot of error checking, because a lot of things can go wrong with this. For instance, let's say we run out of empowered seeds. The crystallized seeds keep dumping out, so you'll end up with some crystallized oil in here, inside this fluid collector, and it'll try to dump it into this tank, and these tinker tanks actually allow multiple fluids to go inside, so we'll have the wrong fluid in here, and it'll mix, and it'll be a big old mess, or it'll clog up, and the seeds will just keep dumping out, but there won't be any oil for them to receive them, so they'll just hang out here and just all go to waste, and this will drain out all of its seeds, while just everything will go completely haywire like robots usually do. Shitty robots. That's basically the risk you run here if you don't do enough error checking. So we check on everything. We check on, do we have a bucket of oil? Do we have enough oil to start the machine? Meaning, is this thing loaded up? Do we have empowered oil hanging out in this fluid collector? So if the fluid collector can't pipe out its empowered oil, then this must be full, or something else must be up. So that also stops the machine in its track. This, are we running? Do we have enough of these crystallized seeds? Also stops the machine. Do we have enough empowered seeds? No, stops the machine. So all of that is checked. I did basically the same. Used basically the same machines and things that DireWolf20 did. He made a clever thing. He used the scanner here and a fluid monitor here. Now I have another fluid monitor behind this block right there. You see there's another fluid monitor. So this one can check the fluid collector here, and this one can check the fluid placer. They have to sit in the 3x3 cube around this block, so it was a little bit of a hassle to fit it all in. But yeah, it did eventually get jammed all up in there. So all of that checking is done inside on this column, and once all the conditions are met, this machine is allowed to fire and is allowed to pulse. Again, I have an override lever here, so let's pulse it once, and you'll see plop plop, and we get an extra bucket, and it's piped out. 131. This, well, it's immediately refilled from here, but these have now a little bit of room, and it's all immediately waiting. But there we go. That's the whole deal. So all of these all went down by one. These are set to have 2 items in them. If they have less than 2 items in them, they fire. And they stop the machine for a little bit, but they also fire a signal all the way over to here to give them 4 new items. They do, by default, the item conduits take 4 items at once. So they get 4 new items. They turn from 1, well, when they're below 2, they're 1. When there's only 1 in here, they go back to 5. So every few cycles, this thing loses 1 or 2 ticks before the new items arrive in here, and then it can fire again. I'm not too worried about the loss of time there, but it's very minimal. So that's really the error checking that's going on here, and pretty stoked with the way this machine responds and looks. It looks really clean, and it's sitting nicely up against the wall. There's not really a lot of visual mess going on with it. I really am proud of this contraption. So that's step 4 right there. Alright, time to get the final piece of the puzzle here. This is soon going to hit 40% full. And you'll see that this power monitor decides, hey, I need more power in my power cell. So as soon as that happens, this light will turn on, and oil will get pumped out of here into these power generators, and this will start filling up with a real good pace. So all that will happen, and as soon as this hits 45%, it's got so much momentum, so to speak, that it doesn't need to pump any oil anymore. It shuts off the oil pump, and these guys will keep firing out and deliver 10 million more RF, about 10 million more RF. Very soon now. Boom, there it is. So you see the oil being drained out. There it goes. Yeah. These are filling up and they're firing. And boom, 2700 RF. Thank you very much. All of that is coming in. And at 9 million, boom. We hit 45% and it stops. And it stops pumping out oil. These are all full. And they're firing. And they're dumping out all their power. And this is going to keep going for a bit, because, you know, it's going to take these machines a while, and there's some pipes as well. They have some fluid in it, so they're still full with some little buckets of fluid as well. So all of that needs some time to drain out, and this will keep going all the way up to 20 million. It'll just fire, and all of that went. Remember, I didn't touch the whole system here. I didn't touch anything. That all went right by itself. And it will happen every single time this runs out of power. But eventually this tank will empty out. So that's where the magic comes in. We thought we can actually turn this evil contraption on. Are you ready to see the whole thing come together now? Because yeah, I've explained every individual piece of the puzzle. I'm going to start flipping these 3 switches, which feed power into the machines, feed canola into the system, and activate the 3 different machines that are still turned off because of the lever. All of that will start firing, and we can fill this tank back up from the backlog into this tank. So here we go. Power on, canola on, machines on. And you'll see this guy is good to go. And good to go. And it starts running. Now, this guy will run out of canola seeds pretty soon. It'll hit its mark. So that light will go off. One more cycle, I guess, of the dropper behind me. There you go. It turns off, and that thing turns on. Boom! It starts firing. And 31, 32. It turns back off. Soon, though, we're going to run out of these guys. So this thing will turn on. Come on. There we go. It runs. So now we see items being dropped in. Boom! And they're lasered. And they're pulled into the system there. You see a lot more items being dropped here. You know, this thing is still running. The laser is still waiting. And Shazam! And they're hoppered into the system. So now we've got a nice backlog of 20 extra seeds sitting there. And the Empower, basically this needs to fire at full tilt to keep up most of the time. That's why one of the reasons that this guy, it doesn't matter that this guy doesn't run a lot faster. And yeah, we're seeing bucket by bucket, we're seeing this thing just fill up. 112 buckets, 113, etc. So this guy is filling up, and this, well, this is still at 178, 179. and it's just filling up. These guys are running. See, they've drained their internal buffer. These guys are running, which means these guys can run. Everything can run right now. So yeah, there we go. That's all. That's the whole system, all working in unison. All the lights are on. We got plenty of resources. The tanks are full. We got plenty of, you know, oil ready to go. But we don't need any of the power at the moment. So yeah, we're good. This is the way the machine will sit, and I will now leave the room, leave it like this, and bar sabotage by creepers and endermen, I'm good. And we'll go to the roof, have a look around, and leave. That's the one thing with these automated systems is once you're done, there's not all that much to do anymore. So yeah. But you know what this means? I finally get to play Minecraft. Sweet! Here we go. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching, if you've made it all the way this far. And, yeah, keep playing. See you around.